Have you ever loved someone so much that their rejection nearly destroyed you? Have you ever been cast out by the person who gave you life, only to watch your own child become the bridge back to forgiveness? My name is Sarah Mitchell, and this is the story of how my mother disowned me for having a baby, how we survived 7 years of silence, and how my little girl became the hero who saved us all. This isn't just a story about betrayal and redemption. It's about the unbreakable bond between mothers and daughters, the scars we carry, the bridges we burn, and the miracles that sometimes bring us back together. If you've ever felt abandoned by family, if you've ever wondered whether forgiveness is possible, or if you've ever witnessed a child's pure love heal the deepest wounds, then this story is for you. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let me take you back to where it all began, to the summer of 2016, when my world fell apart. Growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, I was what everyone called the perfect daughter. My mother, Patricia Ann Mitchell, had dreams stitched into every fiber of my being before I could even walk. She was a woman of old Southern traditions, church on Sundays, pearls at dinner, and a family reputation that meant everything. I graduated valedictorian from Charleston High in 2014. I had a full scholarship to the University of South Carolina, where I was studying pre-law. My mother would brag to her bridge club about my Sarah, the future attorney, and I loved making her proud. I loved the way her eyes sparkled when she introduced me to her friends, the way she'd squeeze my hand and whisper, "You're going to change the world, baby girl." But life has a way of changing your plans when you least expect it. His name was Marcus Thompson. We met during my sophomore year at a campus coffee shop in October 2015. He was a graduate student in architecture, with warm brown eyes and a smile that made me forget every careful plan I'd ever made. My mother didn't approve of him, not because of who he was, but because he wasn't part of her vision. He came from a working-class family. His father was a mechanic. His mother cleaned houses. "Sarah, you need to focus on your studies," she'd say, her voice tight with disapproval whenever I mentioned him. "Men like that will derail your future." But I was 20 years old and in love. We were careful. We were responsible. But sometimes life happens anyway. March 12th, 2016. I'll never forget that date. I was sitting on the cold bathroom floor of my dorm room, staring at 2 pink lines that seemed to glow with accusation. My roommate Jessica sat beside me, holding my hand as I cried. "What am I going to do?" I whispered, my voice breaking. "My mother will kill me." Jessica squeezed my hand. "You're going to figure this out. You're the strongest person I know." But I didn't feel strong. I felt terrified. Marcus and I had that conversation the next day at our favorite spot by the lake. I watched his face cycle through shock, fear, and then something that surprised me: determination. "We can do this," he said, taking both my hands in his. "Sarah, I love you. We'll figure it out together. I'll get a job. We'll make it work. My mother, I know," he said softly. "But this is our baby, our family. We'll handle it." I knew I had to tell her. I spent 2 weeks rehearsing the words, trying to find a way to make her understand. But there was no gentle way to shatter the dreams she'd built around me. April 2nd, 2016. I drove home on a Saturday morning. The dogwoods were blooming, and Charleston looked like a postcard. I sat in my car outside my childhood home for 20 minutes, gathering courage. My mother was in her garden, wearing her wide-brimmed hat and those gardening gloves I'd given her for Christmas. She looked so peaceful, so happy. I almost turned around. "Sarah," she called out, her face lighting up. "What a wonderful surprise. Come help me with these roses." We worked side by side for a few minutes, and then I said the words that changed everything. "Mom, I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant." The gardening shears fell from her hands. She stood up slowly, turning to face me. Her face went through so many emotions: shock, disbelief, and then something cold and hard that I'd never seen directed at me before. "Tell me you're joking." "Mom, tell me this is some kind of sick joke, Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell." I was crying now. "I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you wanted, but Marcus and I were going to..." "Marcus?" She spat the name like poison. "That boy? You threw away your entire future for that boy? Mom, please, do you have any idea what you've done?" Her voice was rising, shaking with rage. "Do you know what people will say? All those years of planning, all that potential, and you threw it away to become some teenage statistic. I'm not a teenager, Mom. I'm 20 years old, and you're nothing. She screamed. The words hit me like a physical blow. You are not my daughter. My daughter was smart. My daughter had a future. You're just another foolish girl who couldn't keep her legs closed. I stumbled backward. Mom, please don't say that. Get out. Her voice was ice. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. If you want to ruin your future, do it somewhere else. Don't you dare come back here with your shame and your mistakes. Mom, please. I'm still me. I'm still your daughter. I have no daughter. She shrieked. Now get out before I call the police and have you removed for trespassing. I stood there, frozen, tears streaming down my face. This was my mother, the woman who had kissed my scraped knees, who had helped me with homework, who had held me when I cried over my first heartbreak, and now she was throwing me away like garbage. I left. I drove back to campus, barely able to see through my tears. I called Marcus from a gas station because I was crying too hard to drive safely. She disowned me, I sobbed. She said I'm not her daughter anymore. He found me there, held me in that parking lot while I fell apart, and promised me that we'd be okay. The next 6 months were the hardest of my life. I took a leave of absence from school. Marcus got a job at a construction company working long hours. We moved into a tiny one-bedroom apartment in Columbia that smelled like mildew and had a broken air conditioner. But it was ours. I tried to reach out to my mother 3 times. I called her in May, sent her a letter in June, and showed up at her house in July. Each time, she slammed the door in my face, literally or figuratively. The last time, she answered the door with her church friends there for lunch. She looked at my growing belly with such disgust that I felt physically sick. I told you not to come back here, she hissed. You're embarrassing me in front of my guests. Mom, please. This is your grandchild. Don't you want to? That thing is not my grandchild. That's the mistake that ruined my daughter's life. Now leave before I make a scene. She closed the door. I heard her laughing with her friends inside, as if nothing had happened, as if I didn't exist. I cried all the way home. Marcus found me curled up on our secondhand couch and he just held me while I sobbed. I don't understand, I kept saying. How can she just stop loving me? How can she look at me like I'm nothing? Because she's hurting too, Marcus said quietly. She's wrong, Sarah. She's so wrong it breaks my heart. But maybe she's just so disappointed that she can't see past it yet. It's been 4 months. When does yet end? He didn't have an answer. November 18th, 2016. Emma Rose Mitchell came into the world at 6:47 a.m., weighing 6 pounds and 4 ounces. She had Marcus's eyes and my nose, and when they placed her in my arms, I understood love in a way I never had before. I also understood my mother's betrayal in a deeper, more painful way. Looking at Emma's tiny, perfect face, I couldn't imagine any circumstance under which I would turn my back on her. I couldn't imagine a choice she could make that would make me stop loving her. And yet my mother had done exactly that to me. Marcus took a photo of me holding Emma, both of us crying happy tears, and I almost sent it to my mother. Jessica talked me out of it. She knows how to find you if she wants to, Jessica said gently. Don't give her another chance to hurt you right now. Just focus on your beautiful baby. So I did. Marcus and I became a team. He worked during the day while I took care of Emma. In the evenings, I studied online courses, determined to finish my degree. At night, we'd take turns getting up with Emma. And even though we were exhausted and broke, we were happy. Emma was the light of our lives. She was a happy baby who smiled early and laughed often. When she was 6 months old, she started saying mama and dada, and my heart felt so full I thought it might burst. But there was always a shadow. Every milestone, her first word, her first step, her first birthday, I'd think about my mother. I'd wonder if she ever thought about us. I'd wonder if she regretted her choice. I tried one more time when Emma turned 1. I sent my mother a birthday card with photos of Emma. I wrote, Mom, Emma turned 1 today. She's walking now. She loves music and books. She has your laugh. I miss you every day. Please, can we talk? Love, Sarah. The card came back unopened, marked, Return to Sender. That's when I finally accepted that my mother had made her choice. I had to stop hoping and start healing. The years passed. Emma grew into an incredible little girl. She was smart and funny and kind. Marcus and I got married in a small ceremony in 2018 at the courthouse, with Jessica as our witness. I finished my degree online in 2019. Marcus got promoted to project manager. We moved into a better apartment, then finally into a small house in 2021. Life was good. We built a family out of love and determination, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a hole where my mother should have been. Emma would ask about grandparents. Marcus's parents had passed away before she was born, so she didn't have any. I'd see other kids with their grandmas at the park and my heart would ache. "Mama, why don't I have a grandma?" Emma asked when she was 5. I knelt down to her level. "You do have a grandma, sweetie. She lives far away and we don't get to see her. Can we visit her?" "Maybe someday," I said, kissing her forehead. It was easier than explaining that her grandma had chosen not to be part of her life. I kept tabs on my mother from a distance. Social media made that easy, even though I'd blocked her and she'd blocked me. I had friends who'd tell me things occasionally. She was still active in her church. She'd retired from her job at the bank. She'd won an award for her rose garden. She was living her life as if Emma and I had never existed. In 2022, I heard through a mutual friend that my mother had mentioned me at a church social, saying her daughter had gone astray, but she prayed for me daily. The hypocrisy made me furious. She prayed for me but wouldn't speak to me. Marcus had to talk me down from driving to Charleston that night. "Sarah, you can't force someone to love you," he said. "You can't force her to see Emma. All you can do is keep living your life and being an amazing mom." He was right, but it didn't make it hurt less. June 14th, 2023. It was a Wednesday evening. Emma had just turned 6, and we were celebrating with pizza and a movie. My phone rang with a number I didn't recognize from Charleston. "Is this Sarah Mitchell?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes. Who's calling?" "This is Margaret Hartwell. I'm a friend of your mother's from church." There was a pause. "Sarah, I'm so sorry to call you like this, but your mother has been asking for you. She's in Charleston Memorial Hospital." My heart stopped. What happened? "She collapsed at church on Sunday during services. They thought it was just dehydration at first, but Sarah, it's cancer. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It's spread to her liver. The doctors say she has maybe a few weeks, possibly a couple of months if she's lucky." The phone felt heavy in my hand. 7 years. 7 years of silence, and now she was dying? "Why are you calling me?" I asked. She made it clear she didn't want me in her life. Margaret's voice was gentle. "She's been asking for you, honey. The pain medication makes her confused sometimes, and she keeps calling for you. She keeps saying she needs to see Sarah. The nurses asked if we knew how to reach you." I closed my eyes. Part of me wanted to hang up. Part of me wanted to say, she should have thought about that 7 years ago. But the other part, the part that was still that little girl who loved her mother, couldn't do it. "What hospital?" "What room?" Margaret gave me the information. After I hung up, I just stood there, shaking. Marcus came up behind me. "What's wrong?" I told him. He looked at Emma, then back at me. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I don't know," I whispered. She threw me away. She chose not to know Emma. "Why should I run to her now?" "Because you're not her," Marcus said simply. "You're better than that. And maybe if you go, you'll finally get the closure you need. What if she rejects me again? What if she's mean to Emma? Then we leave and you know you tried. But what if this is your chance to heal? What if she wants to apologize?" I looked at Emma, who was watching us with worried eyes. She was so sensitive, so attuned to emotions. "Mama, what's wrong?" she asked. I sat down on the couch and pulled her into my lap. "Baby, remember how I told you that you have a grandma but we don't see her?" Emma nodded. "Well, Grandma is very sick. She's in the hospital. How would you feel about going to meet her?" Emma's eyes got wide. "Really? I can meet my grandma?" The hope in her voice broke my heart. "Yes, sweetie, but I need you to understand that Grandma and I haven't talked in a long time. She might not be very friendly at first. She's sick and might be grumpy. That's okay," Emma said seriously. "When I'm sick, you take care of me and I feel better. Maybe we can help Grandma feel better too." Oh, my sweet girl. If only it were that simple. We drove to Charleston on Friday afternoon. The 3-hour drive felt like both an eternity and an instant. My stomach was in knots. My hands were sweating. Marcus kept squeezing my hand reassuringly. Emma was excited. She'd insisted on bringing flowers from our garden and had made a get-well card covered in stickers and glitter. "Will Grandma like my card?" she kept asking. "I'm sure she will, baby." When we pulled into the hospital parking lot, I almost told Marcus to turn around. I sat in the car for 10 minutes, just breathing. "You've got this," Marcus said. "We're right here with you." We made our way to the oncology floor. Room 412. I stood outside the door, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. "Mama?" Emma tugged my hand. "Are you okay?" I knelt down. "I'm just a little nervous, sweetie, but I'm okay." I pushed open the door. The woman in the bed didn't look like my mother. She'd always been so put together, so strong. This woman was frail, her skin gray, her cheeks hollow. She was asleep, her chest rising and falling with obvious effort. "Mom?" I whispered. Her eyes fluttered open. For a moment she looked confused, and then her gaze focused on me. A dozen emotions crossed her face: shock, disbelief, joy, fear, and something that might have been shame. "Sarah?" Her voice was barely audible. "Is that really you?" "It's me, Mom." My voice was shaking. "Your friend Margaret called. She said you were asking for me." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "I can't believe you came. After everything Oh God, Sarah, I can't believe you came." Emma peeked out from behind my legs, and my mother's gaze shifted to her. She gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "This is Emma," I said quietly. "Your granddaughter. Emma, come say hello to Grandma." Emma, bless her fearless heart, walked right up to the bed with her flowers and card. "Hi, Grandma. I brought you flowers to make you feel better. And I made you a card." My mother's face crumpled. She started crying. Deep, wrenching sobs that shook her whole body. "I'm so sorry," she gasped. "Oh God, Sarah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I pulled a chair up to her bedside while Marcus took Emma to the hospital cafeteria for ice cream. My mother and I needed to talk alone. "Why did you ask for me?" I asked quietly. "After all these years, why now?" My mother closed her eyes. "Because I'm dying, and I can't face God with this sin on my soul. Because I've been a fool and a coward. Because I threw away 7 years with you and that beautiful child, and I can never get them back." "You disowned me," I said, and I couldn't keep the bitterness out of my voice. "You told me I wasn't your daughter anymore. You called my child a mistake." "I know." Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. "I know what I said. I know what I did. And I have to live with that for whatever time I have left." Sarah, I was so angry. I was so disappointed. All my dreams for you, all my plans, they were gone. And I couldn't see past my own selfishness to understand that you were still you, that you were still my baby girl who needed me. "I needed you," I whispered. I was 20 years old and pregnant and terrified, and I needed my mother. "Do you know how many times I cried myself to sleep wishing you would call? Do you know how many times I wanted to share something about Emma with you?" "I can't imagine," she said brokenly. "Or maybe I can because I missed you every single day. But I was too proud, too stubborn, too convinced that I was right to admit I was wrong. And now look at me, dying at 62, having wasted 7 years I can never get back. The doctors really said weeks or months?" She nodded. "Pancreatic cancer. By the time they found it, it had spread everywhere. They're giving me palliative care, trying to make me comfortable. But there's no fixing this, Sarah. I'm going to die. And I'm going to die knowing that I was a terrible mother when you needed me most." I wanted to comfort her. I wanted to tell her it was okay. But I couldn't, because it wasn't okay. What she'd done had hurt me in ways that still ached. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said honestly. "What you did? Mom, it broke something in me. Every time Emma hits a milestone, there's this shadow of grief because you chose not to be there. When she asked why she didn't have a grandma, I had to lie because the truth, that her grandma didn't want her, would have destroyed her. I want to know her," my mother said urgently. "However much time I have, I want to know Emma. Please, Sarah. I know I don't deserve it. I know I've lost the right to ask for anything. But please, let me try to be the grandmother I should have been from the beginning." I looked at this dying woman who used to be so strong, so intimidating, and I thought about what Marcus had said, that I was better than her. That I could choose love even when she had chosen pride, I'll think about it, I said finally. But you need to understand, Emma is my first priority. If you hurt her, if you make her feel unwanted for even 1 second, we're gone. Do you understand? I understand, my mother whispered. Thank you. Thank you for even considering it. Over the next 2 weeks, something extraordinary happened. Emma, in her innocent, wholehearted way, fell in love with her grandmother. And my mother, this woman who had been so cold and hard, melted completely. We visited every day. At first, I was cautious, watching my mother like a hawk for any sign of rejection or cruelty. But all I saw was wonder and regret. Emma would climb up on my mother's hospital bed and tell her stories about school, about her friends, about the stray cat we'd been feeding. She'd sing songs she'd learned. She'd show her drawings, and my mother would listen with tears streaming down her face, soaking up every word like someone dying of thirst. She looks just like you did at that age, my mother told me one day while Emma was coloring. You had that same serious little face when you concentrated, and that same laugh. She's her own person, I said. But yes, there are similarities. She's magnificent, my mother said softly. Sarah, you've done an incredible job raising her. She's kind and smart and so full of joy. You're a better mother than I ever was. I didn't know what to say to that. On the 4th day, something shifted. My mother was having a particularly bad day. The pain was worse, the nausea making her miserable. The nurse had given her medication, but she was restless and uncomfortable. Emma, who had been playing quietly in the corner, suddenly got up and climbed onto the bed. She lay down next to my mother very carefully and put her small hand on my mother's chest. Grandma, when I'm sad, Mama sings to me, Emma said. Do you want me to sing to you? My mother's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded, and Emma, my sweet 6-year-old, started singing You Are My Sunshine. It was off-key and adorable, and by the 2nd verse, my mother was sobbing. When Emma finished, she patted my mother's hand. Did that help? More than you could ever know, sweetheart, my mother managed. That night, after Emma fell asleep on the hospital room couch and Marcus had dozed off in the chair, my mother called me over. I need to tell you something, she said. When they first diagnosed me, I was angry, furious. I felt like God was punishing me. But now I think maybe he gave me a gift, a chance to meet Emma, a chance to try to make things right with you before I go. I don't deserve this gift, but I'm so grateful for it. I'm still angry with you, I said quietly. I don't know if that will ever completely go away. I know. And you have every right to be. But Sarah, I need you to know I love you. I never stopped loving you. I was just too stupid and proud to show it. And that little girl over there, she's the best thing you ever did. Don't let anyone, including your foolish old mother, ever make you think differently. She is pretty amazing, I said, smiling despite myself. Takes after her mom. July 2nd, 2023. Started like the previous days. We arrived at the hospital around 9 in the morning. Emma had brought more drawings, and I'd brought books to read aloud. But something was different. My mother looked worse, more pale, more drawn. The nurses were coming in more frequently. The doctor pulled me aside. The cancer is progressing faster than we anticipated, Dr. Chen said gently. Her liver function is declining rapidly. We've made her as comfortable as possible, but realistically, we're looking at days rather than weeks now. I felt like I'd been punched. Days. Just when we'd started to rebuild something, she was going to be taken away. I must have looked devastated because Dr. Chen put a hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry. I know this is difficult, but sometimes with cancer this advanced, the body just gives up. There's nothing more we can do except keep her comfortable. I went back into the room, and my mother knew immediately. She'd always been able to read me. It's time, isn't it? She asked. I nodded, not trusting my voice. Emma was oblivious, setting up her stuffed animals on the windowsill. Grandma, Mr. Bear wants to know if you like chocolate or vanilla better. Chocolate, my mother said, her voice weak but fond. Always chocolate, sweetheart. Around 2 in the afternoon, things took a sharp turn. My mother's breathing became labored. Her blood pressure dropped. Alarms started going off. Nurses rushed in. Dr. Chen appeared. I grabbed Emma and pulled her away from the bed, holding her tight against me as they worked. "What's wrong with Grandma?" Emma asked, her voice scared. "She's very sick, baby. The doctors are helping her, but I could see from their faces that there wasn't much they could do. This was it. She was dying." Dr. Chen came over to us after a few minutes. "We've stabilized her for now, but her blood pressure is dangerously low. Her liver is failing. Sarah, I think you should call anyone who needs to say goodbye." There was no one to call. My mother had alienated most of her friends and family with her judgmental attitudes over the years. It was just us. "Can I stay with her?" I asked. "Of course." I sent Marcus to take Emma for a walk, but Emma refused. "No," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I want to stay with Grandma." "Please, Mama." I looked at Marcus helplessly. He knelt down to Emma. "Sweetie, Grandma is very, very sick. It might be scary." "I don't care," Emma sobbed. "I love Grandma. I want to stay." My mother's voice, weak but clear, came from the bed. "Let her stay, please." So we all stayed. We gathered around her bed. Marcus held Emma in his lap while I held my mother's hand. "I'm sorry," my mother whispered. "I'm so sorry I'm leaving you again. Just when we found our way back." "Don't," I said, my voice breaking. "Don't apologize, just stay as long as you can. Tell Emma. Tell her Grandma loves her. Tell her I'm so proud to be her grandma." "You can tell her yourself," I said desperately. "You're right here." But her eyes were closing. Her breathing was getting shallower. "Grandma," Emma cried. "Grandma, don't go." What happened next is something I still can't fully explain. Emma, crying so hard she could barely breathe, suddenly went very still. She looked at my mother with this intense, focused expression I'd never seen before. Then she climbed out of Marcus's lap, walked to the bed, and put both her hands on my mother's chest, right over her heart. "Grandma, you have to stay," Emma said, her voice suddenly calm and serious. "You just found us. You can't leave yet. Please, Grandma. Please stay." And I swear something in the room shifted. It sounds crazy, and I know how it sounds. But there was this moment where everything just paused. My mother's eyes opened. She looked at Emma with such love and wonder. "Oh, sweetheart," she breathed. "Please," Emma said again. "I need you. Mama needs you. Please fight, Grandma." My mother's hand came up, trembling, weak, and covered Emma's small hands on her chest. "I'll try, baby girl," she whispered. "For you, I'll try." The monitors, which had been alarming constantly, started to stabilize. My mother's breathing, while still labored, became more regular. Her blood pressure crept up, not to normal levels, but enough that the crisis seemed to pass. Dr. Chen came back in, looking shocked. "I'm not sure what happened," she said, checking the monitors. "She should be, well, she's stabilized. Her blood pressure is improving. This is unusual." Emma looked up at the doctor with tear-stained cheeks. "She's staying. She promised." Dr. Chen looked at Emma, then at my mother, then at me. "Well," she said softly, "sometimes miracles happen. My mother didn't get cured. Cancer doesn't work that way. But somehow, inexplicably, she got stronger. Over the next few days, her numbers improved. She became more alert. She could sit up for longer periods. It's remarkable," Dr. Chen told me a week later. "I can't explain it medically. The cancer is still there, it's still terminal, but it's almost like her body decided to fight back. I've seen this occasionally. We call it rallying. Sometimes, when patients have unfinished business, they seem to gain strength for a little while. It doesn't last forever, but it gives them time. Time. That's what Emma had given us. Precious, borrowed time." My mother was moved to hospice care in a beautiful facility that looked more like a home than a hospital. They allowed overnight visitors, so Marcus and I rented a nearby Airbnb, and we spent every day with her. During those weeks, my mother transformed. Or maybe she just finally showed us who she really was underneath all that pride and fear. She told me stories about my father, who had died when I was 3. "He would have loved Marcus," she said. "He would have been furious with me for what I did to you. Your daddy was never about status or appearances. He just wanted you to be happy." She played endless games with Emma. Board games, card games, pretend games. She asked Emma about her dreams, her fears, her favorite things. She listened with the kind of presence that made Emma bloom. "Grandma, when you get better," "Can you come live with us?" Emma asked one day. My mother and I exchanged glances. We'd been honest with Emma that Grandma wasn't going to get better. But at 6 years old, it was hard for her to really understand. "Sweetheart, I have to go to heaven pretty soon," my mother said gently, "but I'll always be in your heart, and I'll be watching over you." "I don't want you to go to heaven yet," Emma said, her lip trembling. "I just met you." "I know, baby girl. And if I could stay, I would. But sometimes we don't get to choose. What we do get to choose is how we spend the time we have, and I choose to spend mine with you." They curled up together on my mother's bed, Emma's head on her shoulder, and my mother told her stories until Emma fell asleep. Later, when Emma was asleep on the couch and Marcus was getting coffee, my mother said, "Sarah, I need to ask you something." "Okay." "I want to apologize to Emma. Really apologize. I want her to know that I'm sorry I missed her first 6 years, that it wasn't about her. It was about me being a stubborn fool. But I don't know if that's fair to her. I don't know if I should burden her with that." I thought about it. "I think," I said slowly, "that Emma already knows you love her. She feels it. The apology she needs isn't about the past. It's about knowing she mattered enough for you to fight to stay with us, even for a little while." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "She matters more than anything. Both of you do. Then tell her that," I said. "Not that you're sorry. Tell her why you fought to stay." August brought a heat wave to Charleston, but inside the hospice facility, it was cool and peaceful. My mother's condition was slowly declining again. The reprieve Emma had somehow sparked was ending, but we'd had 6 weeks. 6 precious weeks that we shouldn't have had. My mother called Emma over one morning. "I need to talk to you about something important, sweetheart." Emma climbed up beside her, and I sat nearby, ready to intervene if needed. "You know how I said I have to go to heaven soon?" My mother asked. Emma nodded solemnly. "Well, I want you to know why I fought so hard to stay a little longer. When I was very sick, and you put your hands on my heart and asked me to stay, I heard you, and I realized that you are the most special little girl in the whole world, and I wanted more time to know you. You gave me that gift, Emma. You gave me time." "I did." Emma's eyes went wide. "You did. Your love is so strong, so pure, that it gave me strength when I had none left. And now, I want to give you something." My mother reached for a wooden box on her nightstand. Inside was a delicate gold locket that I remembered from my childhood. "This was my grandmother's," she said, "which means it's your great-great-grandmother's. And now it's yours." She opened it. Inside was a tiny photo of me as a baby on one side, and on the other, she'd placed a small picture of Emma from one of the dozens we'd taken over the past weeks. 4 generations, my mother said softly. "You, your mama, me, and great-great-grandma Rose. We're all connected, Emma. Even when I'm in heaven, we'll still be connected right here." She touched Emma's heart. "Love doesn't end. It just changes form." Emma touched the locket with reverent fingers. "It's so pretty." "You're so pretty," my mother said. "Inside and out. And I want you to promise me something." "What?" "Promise me you'll always be kind. Promise me you'll always love your mama the way you love her now. And promise me that when you're grown up and you have your own babies, you'll tell them about the grandma who loved you so much that your love brought her back, even for just a little while." "I promise, Grandma," Emma said seriously. "I'll tell them all about you." My mother pulled Emma into a hug, and I had to turn away because I was crying too hard to see. That afternoon, while Emma napped, my mother and I had the conversation I needed. "I can't take back what I did," she said. "I can't give you back those 7 years. But I need you to know that I see you now, Sarah. I see what an incredible mother you are. I see the life you've built with Marcus. I see the strength it took to walk into that hospital room after how I treated you. You're a better person than I ever was." "Don't say that," I said. "You're not a bad person, Mom. You made a mistake, a terrible, hurtful mistake. But you're not bad. I threw you away when you needed me most." "What kind of mother does that?" "A scared one," I said quietly. "A disappointed one. A human one. Mom, I'm not saying what you did was okay. It wasn't. It hurt me in ways I'm still healing from. but I understand it better now. You had dreams for me that I shattered. You couldn't see past your own disappointment to my reality. It was wrong, but it was human. Can you ever forgive me? She asked, her voice breaking. I took a deep breath. I've been thinking about that a lot. And I realized something. I've been holding on to this anger, this hurt, like a shield. Because if I stay angry, I don't have to risk being hurt again. But anger is exhausting, Mom. And I don't want Emma to learn from me that grudges are worth holding on to. So yes, I forgive you. Not because you deserve it. I'm not sure any of us ever really deserve forgiveness. But because I choose love over anger, I choose healing over hurt, and I choose to let my daughter know her grandmother loved her, even if it was only for a short time. My mother sobbed. I moved to her bed and held her while she cried, the way she'd held me when I was little and the world felt too big and scary. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for being bigger than I was. Thank you for bringing Emma. Thank you for giving me this chance. Thank you for taking it, I said. Thank you for loving her. Thank you for seeing what I tried to tell you 7 years ago. That my life wasn't ruined. It was just different than we planned. It's beautiful, my mother said. Your life is so beautiful, Sarah. I was too blind to see it before, but I see it now. The first week of September, the doctors told us it was time. My mother's body was shutting down. She was sleeping more than she was awake. The pain medication kept her comfortable, but also kept her distant. We stayed with her constantly. Marcus took time off work. Emma missed the first week of first grade, but none of that mattered. What mattered was being there. On September 6th, my mother had a moment of unusual clarity. She woke up in the afternoon and her eyes were sharp and focused. Sarah, she said. Emma, come here. We gathered around her bed. Marcus stood behind us, his hands on my shoulders. I need to tell you something, my mother said. Her voice was weak but determined. Sarah, you are the best thing I ever did with my life. I know I didn't act like it. I know I hurt you terribly, but you need to know. You are my greatest accomplishment. Not because of your grades or your potential career. Because of who you are. Kind, strong, forgiving, loving. You're everything I should have been. Mom, let me finish. I don't have much time, and I need you to hear this. Emma, my darling girl, you are pure magic. You saved me. Not just in the hospital, but saved my soul. You taught me that love is stronger than pride. Stronger than disappointment. Stronger than anything. You gave me the most precious gift, a chance to be your grandma. I will love you forever and ever. I love you too, Grandma, Emma said, tears streaming down her face. And Marcus, my mother continued, thank you for taking care of my girls. Thank you for being the man I was too blind to see you were. You're a good man, and I'm grateful Sarah found you. Marcus's voice was thick. It's been an honor to know you, Patricia. My mother smiled. Now I need you all to listen carefully. When I'm gone, I don't want sadness. I want you to remember these weeks. I want you to remember that love can heal almost anything if we let it. I want you to live big, beautiful lives full of joy and forgiveness and second chances. We will, I promised. Good. She closed her eyes, and for a moment I thought that was it. But then she opened them again and looked at Emma. Sing for me, sweet girl. One more time. Emma climbed up on the bed, curled up next to her grandmother, and sang You Are My Sunshine in her clear, sweet voice. My mother held her close, tears running down her face, and mouthed the words along with her. When Emma finished, my mother kissed her forehead. Thank you, baby girl, for everything. My mother died on September 8th, 2023, at 3:42 in the morning. We were all there. She went peacefully, holding my hand on one side and Emma's on the other. The funeral was small. My mother's church friends came, and some looked at me with judgment, the daughter who'd gone astray, but most just offered condolences. Margaret Hartwell hugged me tight and whispered, She loved you so much. She talked about you and Emma constantly these last weeks. Emma wore the locket to the funeral. She was incredibly brave, though she cried during the service. When it was time for people to share memories, she insisted on going up. My 6-year-old daughter stood at the front of that church and said, My grandma was sick, but she was brave. She taught me that love is the strongest magic. She said even when someone goes to heaven, they stay in your heart forever. I'm going to keep her in my heart always. There wasn't a dry eye in the building. At the cemetery, as they lowered my mother's casket, Emma held my hand tight and said, "Mama, is Grandma really in heaven now?" "Yes, baby. She is. Is she happy?" I thought about my mother's face in those last weeks. The joy, the peace, the love. "Yes, sweetheart. She's happy. She got to know you, and that made her so happy." "Good," Emma said, "because she made me happy too." A week after the funeral, my mother's lawyer called. She'd updated her will in August, during one of her stronger days. "Your mother was very specific about how she wanted things handled," the lawyer, Mr. Patterson, told us in his office. He read the will. My mother had left everything to me and Emma, her house, her savings, everything. But more than that, she'd written letters. There was a letter for me. "My dearest Sarah, by the time you read this, I'll be watching over you from heaven. I hope I'm doing a better job of it from up there than I did down here. I'm leaving you my house. I know it holds painful memories, but it also holds happy ones, your childhood, your father's love, and now, hopefully, the memory of these last weeks we had together. Do with it what you will. Live in it, sell it, burn it down if that's what you need. It's yours. But more than the house, I'm leaving you with something more important. My apology and my love. I'm sorry I wasted 7 years. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. I'm sorry I missed so much of Emma's life. But I'm grateful, so grateful, that you gave me a second chance I didn't deserve. Be happy, my darling girl. Love that beautiful family of yours, and know that your mother loved you, even when she was too stupid to show it. Forever your mother, Patricia," I cried reading it. Marcus held me while I sobbed. There was also a letter for Emma, to be given to her when she was older. "My precious Emma, you won't read this for many years, but when you do, I want you to know something. You are the miracle that saved not just my life, but my soul. When you put your little hands on my heart and asked me to stay, something in me shifted. Your pure, innocent love reminded me what really mattered. Not pride, not reputation, not being right, but love. Just love. You gave me 6 weeks I shouldn't have had. 6 weeks to know the most incredible little girl in the world. 6 weeks to try to make up for 7 years of mistakes. It wasn't enough time. It could never be enough. But it was everything. By the time you read this, you'll be grown. You might have children of your own. And when you do, I want you to remember something. Love them unconditionally. Be there for them even when they make choices you don't understand. Don't let pride or disappointment steal your time with them, the way I let it steal my time with your mother. You taught me that. Emma, a 6-year-old child, taught a 62-year-old woman the most important lesson of her life. That's your magic. I love you forever, Grandma Patricia." We saved that letter in Emma's baby book, waiting for the day she'd be old enough to truly understand it. We decided to keep my mother's house. It needed work. It had been neglected during her illness. But it was beautiful, and it was close to good schools for Emma. Moving back to Charleston felt like coming full circle. This was where my story started, where it fell apart, and where it finally healed. We turned my old bedroom into Emma's room. She loved having a bigger space, and she insisted on putting up photos of her grandmother everywhere, so she can see how I'm growing, Emma explained. The first Christmas without my mother was hard. Emma made an ornament for her, an angel with the date of her death on it. We hung it front and center on the tree. "Is Grandma watching us celebrate Christmas?" Emma asked. "I think she is," I said. "Good. I want her to see how much I love the locket. I wear it every day," and she did. That locket became Emma's most prized possession. Something unexpected happened in the months after my mother's death. People from my mother's church started reaching out to me. Apparently, in those last weeks, my mother had talked about me and Emma constantly. She'd told her story, the whole story, about how she'd disowned me and how wrong she'd been. Margaret Hartwell invited me to coffee one day. "Your mother's testimony changed a lot of hearts," she told me. "There were several women in our congregation who'd cut off their own children for various reasons. After hearing your mother's story, after seeing her regret, they reached out to their children. 2 families have reconciled because of what your mother shared. I hadn't known. My mother's last act wasn't just healing our family, it was healing others too. One woman, Helen, approached me at the grocery store. "Your mother told us about your daughter, how she saved her life, and it made me think about my own son. I hadn't spoken to him in 3 years because he married someone I didn't approve of. But your mother said, 'Don't waste time on pride. You'll regret every day you miss.' So I called my son. We're rebuilding our relationship now. Thank you." I didn't know what to say except, "I'm glad." But inside I was amazed. My mother's mistake had become her legacy of healing. As Emma got older, she started asking more questions. When she turned 7, she wanted to know the whole story. "Mama, why didn't Grandma want to meet me when I was born?" I'd known this question was coming, but it still made my heart hurt. Marcus and I sat down with her, and I told her the truth, in age-appropriate terms. "Grandma had dreams for me," I explained. "And when I had you, those dreams changed. Grandma was so sad about her dreams changing that she couldn't see the beautiful new dream that was happening. You. She made a big mistake. She missed 7 years of your life because she was too proud to admit she was wrong. But she loved me at the end, right?" Emma asked anxiously. "Oh, sweetheart, yes. She loved you so much. And you know what? You taught her something important. You taught her that love is more important than pride, that people are more important than plans. You changed her heart." "Did I really save her life?" Emma asked. "Or was that just something people said?" I thought about how to answer. "I think you did," I said slowly. "Maybe not in the way we usually think about saving someone. The doctors said her body should have given up that day. But when you asked her to stay, when you put your hands on her heart, something happened. Maybe it was medical. Maybe it was a miracle. Maybe it was just love being stronger than sickness for a little while. But yes, I believe you saved her. You gave us 6 more weeks with her." "I'm glad," Emma said. "Even though I miss her, I'm glad I got to know her." "Me too, baby." "Me too." On the first anniversary of my mother's death, Emma had an idea. "Mama, can we do something special for Grandma? Something that helps other people?" "Like what, sweetie?" "Like, what if we help other grandmas and their families who had fights, so they don't waste time like Grandma did?" Out of the mouths of babes, that idea grew into something bigger. Marcus and I, along with some of my mother's church friends, created the Second Chances Family Foundation. We offered free family counseling, mediation services, and support groups for families who were estranged. We told my mother's story, with Emma's permission, as part of the foundation's mission. We talked about the pain of estrangement, the possibility of reconciliation, and the importance of not waiting until it's too late. The foundation started small, but it grew. Within 2 years, we'd helped over 50 families reconcile. Some were parents and adult children. Some were siblings who hadn't spoken in years. Some were grandparents and grandchildren. Every success story felt like honoring my mother's memory. Every family that found their way back together felt like her legacy continuing. Emma, even at just 8 years old, became the foundation's unofficial mascot. She'd come to events, wearing her locket, and share what she called Grandma's lesson. "Love is stronger than being mad," she'd say. And families should stick together, even when it's hard. In September 2025, a filmmaker named Rachel Chen contacted us. She'd heard about the foundation and wanted to make a short documentary about our story. At first, I was hesitant. Our story was so personal, so painful. Did I really want to share it with the world? But Marcus pointed out something important. Think about how many people might see it and realize they need to reconcile with their families before it's too late. Think about the woman at the grocery store. Helen, your mother's story changed her life. This could change hundreds, maybe thousands. So we agreed. Rachel interviewed all of us. She talked to Emma, who was now 8 and incredibly articulate about her grandmother. She talked to Marcus about watching our family heal. She talked to Margaret Hartwell and other members of my mother's church. And she spent hours interviewing me. The hardest part was showing her the hospital room footage. Marcus had recorded some of those last weeks on his phone. Precious memories we wanted to preserve. There was footage of Emma singing to my mother, of my mother laughing at Emma's jokes, of Emma putting her hands on my mother's heart. Rachel cried watching it. "This is incredibly powerful," she said. "Sarah, do you understand what you have here? This is a love story. It's a redemption story. It's everything people need to see about forgiveness and second chances. The documentary, titled The Hands That Healed, premiered at a small film festival in Atlanta in October 2025. It was only 23 minutes long, but it was raw and honest and real. When the lights came up after the screening, there wasn't a dry eye in the theater. People came up to us afterward, sharing their own stories of estrangement. Several people said they were going to call their estranged family members that night. One elderly man grabbed my hand and said, "I haven't spoken to my daughter in 12 years. Over something so stupid I can't even remember what started it. But watching your mother die with regret, I don't want that to be me. I'm calling her tonight." I hugged him, crying. "Do it, please do it. Don't waste another day." The documentary started gaining traction. It was picked up by a streaming service. Within a month, it had been viewed over 2 million times. My inbox exploded with messages from people thanking us for sharing our story. But the most meaningful message came from a woman named Carol. "Dear Sarah, Emma, and Marcus, I just watched your documentary and I'm sitting here sobbing. 5 years ago, I disowned my son when he came out as gay. I told him he was no longer my child. I said terrible, unforgivable things. Watching your mother's regret, hearing her talk about wasted time, seeing Emma's pure love, it broke something open in me. I've been so wrong. I've missed 5 years of my son's life because of my pride and prejudice. I called him tonight. It was the hardest call I've ever made, but I apologized. I told him I loved him. I asked if there was any way he could forgive me. He cried. I cried. And then he said, "Mom, I've been waiting 5 years for this call. We're meeting for coffee next week. I don't know if we can repair everything I broke, but I'm going to try. And it's because of your family's courage in sharing your story. Please tell Emma that her grandmother's lesson reached me. Love is stronger than being mad, and I'm choosing love. Thank you, Carol." I read that email to Emma, and she beamed. "See, Mama? Grandma is still helping people, even from heaven." In November 2025, Emma turned 9. We celebrated with a big party at our house, the house that used to be my mother's house, now filled with laughter and love. Emma's friends were running around the yard. Marcus was grilling burgers. I was setting up the cake when Emma came over and hugged me tight. "What's this for?" I asked, surprised. "I'm just happy," she said. "I have the best family. I wish Grandma could be here, but I know she's watching." "I know she is too, baby." "Mama, can I tell you something?" "Of course." Sometimes when I'm sad or scared, I hold my locket and talk to Grandma. And I feel better. Is that weird? No, sweetheart. That's not weird at all. That's exactly what she'd want. Good. Because I tell her about school and my friends and everything. I want her to know about my life, even though she's in heaven. My heart felt so full it might burst. She knows, Emma, and she's so proud of you. Later that evening, after the party, after Emma was asleep, Marcus and I sat on the porch of what used to be my mother's house. "Can you believe it's been 2 years?" Marcus asked. "Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago." "Do you have any regrets? About going to see her? About bringing Emma?" I thought about it. No, not one. Yes, those 7 years were painful. Yes, what she did hurt me deeply. But those last 6 weeks, they healed something in me I didn't even know was broken. And Emma got to know her grandmother. That's a gift I never thought she'd have. "She saved more than just your mother's life," Marcus said quietly. "She saved your heart too." He was right. Emma's pure, uncomplicated love had shown me that forgiveness wasn't about condoning what my mother did. It was about releasing the poison of resentment. It was about choosing healing over hurt. "I think my mother's greatest gift to me wasn't the house or the inheritance," I said. "It was showing me that it's never too late to try again. That pride kills relationships, but humility can heal them. That even when you've burned a bridge, sometimes you can find a way back." "And Emma's gift?" Marcus asked. "Emma taught us all that love, real, pure, powerful love, can work miracles. Not just medical miracles, but heart miracles. She taught my mother to let go of pride. She taught me to let go of anger. She taught everyone watching our story that family is worth fighting for." Part 25. The legacy continues. The foundation continued to grow. By the end of 2025, we'd expanded to 3 locations and helped over 200 families. We'd heard countless stories of reconciliation, parents and children reuniting, siblings finding their way back together, grandparents meeting grandchildren for the first time. Each story reminded me of my own. Each reunion felt like a little piece of my mother's redemption continuing. Emma remained active in the foundation, despite being just 9 years old. She'd made a video for the website, wearing her locket, talking about her grandmother. "My grandma made a mistake," she said in the video, her voice clear and sincere. "She missed 7 years of my life, but then she said she was sorry. She loved me so much in the time we had together, and even though she's in heaven now, her love is still here. If you have someone in your family you're not talking to, don't waste time being mad. Life is too short. Love is too important." The video went viral. It was shared millions of times. Emma's simple message resonated with people all over the world. We started getting letters from international families who'd reconciled after seeing Emma's video. A family in Japan, a mother and son in Brazil, sisters in Australia who hadn't spoken in 20 years. My 9-year-old daughter, with her grandmother's locket and her enormous heart, was changing the world. Part 26. Emma's wisdom one night. I was tucking Emma into bed, and she asked me a question that surprised me. "Mama, do you think you'll tell my kids about Grandma someday?" "Your kids?" "Sweetie, you're 9. You don't need to worry about kids yet." She giggled. "I know, but someday I will. And I want them to know about Grandma, about how she made a mistake but fixed it, about how love saved her." "I promise," I said, kissing her forehead. "When you have kids, we'll tell them all about your grandmother. And about how I put my hands on her heart and she got better. Especially about that." Emma was quiet for a moment, then said, "Mama, I think God let me be there so Grandma could learn what she needed to learn before she went to heaven. Like that was my job, to teach her about love." I looked at my daughter, wise beyond her years, and realized she might be right. Maybe Emma's purpose in that hospital room wasn't just to give my mother more time. Maybe it was to give her something more important, understanding, forgiveness, and peace. "You're probably right, baby," I said. "You're a very special girl." "I know," she said matter-of-factly, then grinned. "But I get it from you." Epilogue. 3 years later, it's now September 2028. Emma is 12 years old, and she's starting 7th grade. The documentary has been watched by over 10 million people. The foundation has helped more than 1,000 families reconcile. And me? I'm living a life I never could have imagined. I finished my law degree, finally, and now I work as a family law mediator, specializing in estrangement cases. I help families find their way back to each other. It's the most rewarding work I've ever done. Marcus is thriving in his career. We're talking about having another baby. Emma is excited about being a big sister. We still live in my mother's house. Every room has been renovated, filled with new memories, but we've kept her rose garden exactly as it was. Emma tends it now, and it's more beautiful than ever. On my mother's birthday, we visit her grave. We bring roses from her garden, and Emma reads her a letter updating her on everything that's happened. "Dear Grandma," Emma read this year. "I'm 12 now. I'm in 7th grade. I'm still wearing your locket every day. The foundation helped 3 more families this month. Mama and Daddy might give me a little brother or sister soon. I think you'd be really proud of us. I miss you every day, but I know you're watching. Love, Emma." After we left the cemetery, Emma said, "Mama, do you think Grandma knows about all the families we've helped?" "I think she does, baby." "Good. Because this is all because of her. Her mistake taught everyone else not to make the same one. Out of the mouths of babes. My mother died with regret, but she didn't die in vain. Her story, our story, has touched millions. Her lesson about pride and love and forgiveness continues to ripple out into the world. And Emma, my beautiful girl who put her hands on her grandmother's heart and somehow made a miracle happen, she carries that legacy forward every single day. Final thoughts. If you're reading this and you're estranged from someone you love, I want you to hear this. It's not too late. Pride isn't worth it. Being right isn't worth it. Whatever happened between you, no matter how big, how painful, how justified your anger, it's not worth missing someone's life. My mother and I lost 7 years. We can never get them back, but we got 6 weeks at the end, and those 6 weeks changed everything. They healed us. They taught us. They showed us what really matters. Don't wait until someone is dying to forgive them. Don't wait until it's too late to say, "I'm sorry." Don't let pride steal your precious time. Pick up the phone. Send the email. Show up at the door. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you might be rejected. Yes, it's hard. But what if you're not rejected? What if they've been waiting for you to reach out? What if this could be the beginning of your own healing? My mother taught me that it's never too late to try. Emma taught me that love can heal anything. And together, they taught me that forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing love over anger, healing over hurt, and connection over pride. This is our story. A story of betrayal and redemption, of pain and healing, of a daughter who never gave up on her mother, and a granddaughter whose love worked miracles. May it inspire you to write your own story of reconciliation. May it give you the courage to reach out to whoever you've lost. And may it remind you that love, real, pure, powerful love, is always worth fighting for. Thank you for reading our story. With love and hope, Sarah, Marcus, and Emma Mitchell, author's note. This story was created to illustrate the power of forgiveness, the importance of family, and the healing that's possible when we choose love over pride. While the specific events in this narrative are fictionalized, the emotions and lessons are drawn from real experiences of families who have navigated estrangement and reconciliation. If you are experiencing family estrangement, please know that help is available through family counselors, mediators, and support groups. It's never too late to try to heal.